So many studies have been done, it's nonsense. There's no correlation between over-enforcement of innocuous infractions and a plummet in crime, but this is what a lot of police departments carry.
Edwin Raymond is a complete fraud. He was a cop on paper, but only lasted 15 years. We need a crime fighter in the sheriff, who I work closely with to fight crime for the city. We don't need a social activist warrior who's totally against policing.
If you're looking for an energy drink that's sustainable energy throughout the day, it helps with focus. Also, it won't leave you with a crash. Just what you need, 75 milligrams of caffeine, so you're not over caffeinating. If you want more caffeine with the vitamins that it have in it, you can actually take more than one drink. Also, if you struggle with sleeping at night, you should take the night drink. A little bit of melatonin, 1 milligram. That's 5 to 10 times less than most sleep products, because you don't need to overuse melatonin. If you do it, then your body quit producing it, and then you become dependent on it. We don't believe in dependency. We believe in assisting you in getting proper sleep. So magnesium is the #1 product that we have. We have ashwagandha to help you relax, all of the above. Shinergylife.com, shinergylife.com. You know, y'all know I was talking about these cops from yesterday and that girl with the thing, you know, getting that other cop in trouble. Then they firing the one cop for beating her. And what does New York City do? They go and promote a person to the position of sheriff that is literally anti-police. And I'm going to give him a fair shake. I'll let him come on this show, because it's not like I don't have any connection with him. I had commented on his post when he wrote the book about police in America. I'm just going to give you my synopsis on why I think this is a bad pick, and then you're going to see why. This guy, Raymond, is one of those black people that want to be considered an activist. Therefore, he turned his back on the law enforcement profession. When I say turn his back, that means he's framing the career field that he was in as a racist, descendant from slave patrol type of a career, because he did something he wasn't supposed to do, or I can't remember the scenario. He ended up getting fired or something, but I think he took it out on the department, and he has been, in my opinion, anti-New York City PD and projecting that the department is racist, and they're going to put him in charge of the sheriff's department. It's crazy. It bothers me, but we'll get to the bottom of this. Roll the clip.
Going down Zohran Mamdani's to-do list, the New York City mayor fired the controversial New York City Sheriff Anthony Miranda, replacing him with NYPD whistleblower Edwin Raymond. Miranda's dismissal was expected, as Mamdani has often spoken about clearing his administration of the controversies from the previous Eric Adams administration. Raymond published a book, An Inconvenient Cop: My Fight to Change Policing in America, back in 2023. APB News caught up with the now former sheriff during Mamdani's swearing-in ceremony back in January. Miranda's tenure as sheriff was marked by controversy, particularly over his office's handling of illegal cannabis enforcement, as well as city investigators probing reports that the sheriff's office improperly seized evidence from unlicensed pot shops.
All right, so that's a little bit of the controversy with the previous sheriff. I don't know much about him, so I can't say I endorsed him or not. But now you're going to see the sentiment of the new gentleman they just selected. Listen to what he say about law enforcement, and I'll give you my synopsis of why I think he's full of sugar, honey, iced tea. Wrote a clip.
Much more complex than just simple individual racism. It's the racism that's interwoven in the system by the way of the enforcement quotas in Black and Hispanic communities.
But those cops are then being instructed and pressured to get the low-level arrest with the belief that it stops the more serious things from happening. There's absolutely no empirical evidence to support that. So many studies have been done. It's nonsense. There's no correlation between over-enforcement of innocuous infractions and a plummet in crime. But this is what a lot of police departments carry.
From slave patrol, some people feel this thing was never designed to work.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
It educates some
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 people who've never heard
Yeah.
about a slave patrol.
So slave patrol were basically militias, if you will, during the time when slavery was legal, whose job was to catch runaway slaves. And after the Civil War, Many of them literally just rolled over into police departments.
Very likely I would have probably said abolish. You know, every now and then you get a good argument as to why abolition is probably the better answer. There are many reform measures that have failed because, one, it's not incentivized. White cop, black guy, racist, you know, and racism was definitely involved. But what I saw was the embedded, lasting, you know, systemic racism in the form of pressure for arrest and summonses.
Critical race theory not only starts with that, but it explains where implicit bias comes from.
Now, how in the funnel cake are you going to have this guy representing law enforcement? This guy is a lunatic in the sense of you cannot represent an agency or a career or I'm trying to think of the words to use with this, but you can't represent a career path. I don't know, the career path is not the word I want to use. But you can't represent a department in layman's terms where you think that the department and the actual profession is the word I want to use is rooted in racism. And then you're so nonsensical in your thought process of saying arresting for low-level crimes is somehow racist and it don't have a profound effect on the totality of outcomes when it comes to the proliferation of crime. It does. What stewhead thinks that letting people do low-level crimes all day long, saturating the city with crimes and violence and all this other stuff, that it doesn't lead to more crime? That's why you arrest these people now, because they're the ones that end up committing murder later on. These are the very ones that if you would have got them then, you wouldn't have to worry about the drug sales. You wouldn't have to worry about the next generation of young people growing up thinking that this is reasonable to do as a form of income. He's woke. You say critical race theory is stupidity. Slave patrol has no, I wrote in my book, slave patrols have no connection to law enforcement. This is two different worlds. It's not even in the same sphere. But anyway, let's move on. A couple more clips about the Mamdani sheriff. Wrote a clip.
Mamdani set to name ex-cop who sued the New York Police Department to serve as the New York City Sheriff. So Mamdani's going to appoint this prominent NYPD critic as New York City's new sheriff. I'll get your final reaction to that.
Public safety took a big hit today. Edwin Raymond is a complete fraud. He was a cop on paper, but only lasted 15 years. We need a crime fighter in the sheriff, who I work closely with to fight crime for the city. We don't need a social activist warrior who's totally against policing. Quite frankly, he wanted to abolish the police department at one time. So horrible pick, politics at play, and public safety once again will take a hit in New York City.
And I tell you what, as you see people begin to leave the agency and move on, they're literally running this city to the ground, economically, and now through public safety. I'm telling you, keep playing. These people are going to get jobs. These people are going to get jobs in law enforcement in other cities and other states that really value. This guy's an activist. He's not a police officer, in my personal opinion. All right.